streaming. Gonna title this Friday Hobby Stream. Painting the crocodile swamp thing for kruleboys. Paint night, doing thing. That was fun. Drinking some weirdly blue lemonade. Yeah. Cool. There we go. Okay. Looks like it's going. Gonna let everybody know that I'm streaming. I need like a screen that just tells people that I'm letting them know that I'm getting everything ready. That would be a good update in the future to have. Go ahead. Get that link. Get that link. I can tell people what's going on. Letting the public know. Got that. Excellent. Then gotta make the post for my patrons, letting them know what's happening. Got quite a few lovely patrons. Want to make sure they're aware that there is a stream going on. There we go. Excellent. Okay. That has been published, so the patrons will know, and the people will know, and that is the update. All right, all of the technical stuff is now presumably out of the way. We can get on with painting. Has the camera frozen up is the question. Yeah, heck. We're gonna find out. We're gonna see. That looks right. Doesn't look right here. Dope. Yeah, I know, baby. Okay. Hopefully that seems to be going. I mean, I'm just gonna guess that things are working. I can see them moving on my little monitor, but if they stop working on YouTube or anything like that, someone let me know. Hi Josh, welcome to the stream. I am going to be working on our zebra cake friend, the crocodile man here. I am joined as always by Hector, and Lobster is also here under the desk. So we've got 2 cats already. I'm drinking some lemonade that I bought from the corner store. That is blue for some reason. So we're gonna give that a go. And we're gonna continue working on painting this guy. Last time I streamed, we gave him a wash and kind of let that finish up. Hector is trying to break into the cabinet over on the side here. He's being a rogue. But yeah, we'll be working on getting this guy all finished up. Yeah, zebra cakes. Right now he's kind of like a dull tan color, and I think I need to bring some of the white back after that wash. So we'll see what we can do about that. I'm probably going to get the orc on top of him finished up before I go in, and I may add some detailing to some of the metal. I'm going to check my kruleboys recipe and see what the next step is to dry brush everything, so we'll probably do that before we jump in to getting some more detailed paint and see what we can get on him with a dry brush. So that's going to be our next step, and I should have grabbed a paper towel before I started screaming. Oh, you had 2 key lime pies. Yes, because you were in Key West. How was your vacation? How were the pies? Give us a full breakdown. Which pie was better? Where did you have pie from? Was there enough lime? Was the ratio of lime to whipped cream good? Because these are the important things about a key lime pie. This lemonade is very good. It tastes blue, like blue raspberry Kool-Aid tastes blue. So I think that's a winner. I'm going to grab a paper towel, but please do not hesitate to give me a full key lime pie diagnosis, because I would very much like to know. Alright, I'm back. I've got the paper towel. We've got the paint. We're going to do the thing. I'm not the best at dry brushing, so we'll see how well this goes. But I am supposed to be dry brushing everything with Drake Tooth, so it can't be that bad. I'm really hoping to get this guy finished up so I can get back to working on my vulture and my other projects, because I have a Marathi I really should be painting right now, and some art commissions I should be finishing, but instead I'm worried about my tournament, and I'm just like, let me paint the thing that I want to paint. My friends are very nice and very patient people. I appreciate them so much. If any of them are watching, I promise I'm gonna get back to working on what I said I would do for you. It'll happen. How soon will it happen? That I can't say. Let's see. Still on vacation. Okay, good. Went to Kermit's first. Low whipped cream per lime pie. Easiest to find. Strawberry key lime. Tastes a lot like strawberry rhubarb. Okay. See, I would not dilute my key lime pie with other flavors like strawberry. Strawberry seems like a pretty aggressive flavor, you know, it's not subtle. So I don't know that I would have gone for that. However, the fact that the place is called Kermit's does make me think of frogs, which is a real positive. Did you see any Muppets while there? I suppose Kermit could be a normal person's name, but everybody has to be thinking of the frog first. Like, if your name is Kermit, I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm not thinking, oh, that guy is named after the Muppet. Ooh, that didn't sound good. That was a snap. That's fine. It stayed in place. We're good. Didn't sound good, but it's fine. It worked out. Often, I feel like a dry brush doesn't really do much, and then I look at what it looked like before the dry brush, what it looked like after, and I'm like, yeah, dry brushing does do stuff. Just not always the most aggressive of dry brushes. Blue Heaven, no whipped cream, Mile High meringue was fantastic. Would recommend. Okay, meringue is an acceptable substitute for whipped cream. That is also quite good. Green Kermit, yeah, mine goes right to the frog. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's no way people aren't thinking of the frog. I might need to find a smaller dry brush to reach some of these areas. We'll see what happens. One should be big and fluffy, but that would involve me taking care of my brushes all the time. Has gotten a little bit crusty, so like everything in life, gets a bit crusty. There we go. That's a dry brush that I can actually see and feel like it's doing something. I do tend to be a bit heavy with it, I guess, but gets the effect that I want. They look a little dusty, and some people are like, I don't like it when my models look dusty, but for these swampy kind of guys, I think it adds a good amount of texture and grime without me having to actually texture anything, so I'm all for it. A little bit of dust never killed anyone, especially not an orc. Filled with chickens running around. Ah, yes, the Hemingway cats. Big fan of those. I'd like to get one someday. I've always wanted like a really weird cat, and don't get me wrong, love the cats that I have. They're absolutely fantastic. But initially, when I was looking at adopting a cat, I wanted to adopt like the strangest cat that I could find, like something with a missing leg or one eye or just something weird like that. Didn't end up being any of those at the shelter. I don't imagine there's a high demand for strange pets. But the Hemingway cats are, they're pretty cool. I like them a good deal. Okay. Got that done. I'd say we dry brush this guy, alright? What's my next step on my magical cheat sheet? Glaze skin with 60 million Coolio. Okay, cool. So that's the next step for the orc. I don't really know what this glaze actually does, or what the application of it is supposed to be. But it does make my orc's skin look kind of like slimy and weird. So I love using it. Also brings out the little spots that I take the time to paint on their skin. So I like that about it. It's a glaze and it'll dry a little bit shiny, which also kind of helps them to not look dusty after the dry brush. Yeah, I imagine most cats ignore the don't get on the furniture signs. I can't even keep them off my hobby desk, so cats just do what they want. You can attempt to train a cat, and I'm sure there are some people, much smarter folks than I, who have figured out the fine art of getting cats to behave the way that you want them to, but I think for the average person, they're more bossed around by the cat than the cat gets bossed around by humans. Probably the way that it should be, if I'm honest. The natural order is for cats to be bossing us around. They chose to be domesticated, not the other way around. It was just convenient for them. And I imagine a cat with thumbs, like, that's got to be almost unstoppable. You can't. I don't know. I've definitely seen at least semi-trained cats before. There's that guy on YouTube who cooks like fancy meals for his cats. I think June's Kitchen is the name of the channel. Like, one of his cats just like goes on walks with him and stuff. Is like super chill. I mean, that's just incredible to me. My cats couldn't do that. Alright. So while that's happening, I'm going to take this brush and some silver and just ding up that metal a bit, I think. I should have a silver around here. Oh, you had a cat that went on walks with you? That's really cool. I've tried, when I had a fenced-in backyard, I tried getting Lobster to go out there on a harness, and he did okay, but he hated putting on his harness. And I wouldn't let him go out without one, because I'm paranoid about him, like, running into traffic and dying or something like that. You know, normal person, cat paranoia. But now I live kind of off, like, a busier road, so I wouldn't do that. What glaze did I use for my orc? It is this one. Citadel Air Sigismund Yellow Clear. I don't know if I can get that to focus on the label so that you can read it. Gotta be one of those, like, makeup people who know how to get things to focus, but it's this one! Does that help you? Does that answer your question? I can type it. I don't know how to say it because Games Workshop makes up. So it is Air Sigismund Yellow Clear. That's the color that I used. And then they will have, just over the top of that, they'll have some highlights with moon dust. And that will get them completely to the finish stage of where I like them to be for my kruleboys army. I could swear I had a Turbo Dork Silver Fox bottle somewhere around here, which is my preferred silver, but since I cannot find that, I will grab Runefang Steel and use that in lieu of the oh gosh, okay, that's not mixed up at all. We'll see if this works, and if not, we'll see if we have any other silvers. That's Mechanicus Standard Gray, that's not gonna do it for us. Hard coat, well, if I needed a bronze or a gold, I have plenty of those. But no silver. You'd think with the absolutely insane amount of paint that I own, things like this wouldn't happen. But in all of these, I have one silver paint that's gone completely unmixed and watery. So, that's fun. I must have hid my Turbo Dork silver from myself somehow. Yeah, I don't think we're getting silver out of this. It's just kind of like milk at this point. That's a glaze is what that's become. Which is great for when I use it incorrectly for my AdMech. Not so great when I was gonna put some silver on this, but we'll just move on to the next step. Find wherever I hid my silver paint from myself and come back to that later. Ooh, Turbo Dork Miami Sunset. They have a lot of fun colors. I've been using Molten Mantle for this kind of purpley metal that you see on this guy. And I don't honestly know how I would achieve that effect without the Turbo Dork paint, so I'm a big fan. I also think their company name is funny, and that alone should be reason enough to purchase at least one bottle. They really... It also kind of feels like, you know, they're making a product that other companies, like, don't make, so there's a need for them. At least I can see, like, you know, it's a niche that hasn't been filled yet, so I understand it, as opposed to me being like, oh, let me just pick a paint brand or get the new paint color that came out. Like, most of the time, new paint colors aren't all that exciting because it's like, I already own a green, so I think I'll be fine. So here I'm just kind of filling in. I'm gonna leave the borders that sort of murky tan color on the scales. But I'm gonna do the center of the scales in white to kind of amp up that texture. I might leave the hands and feet kind of dirty, just because I feel like they'd get grimy. But at least the upper parts, I'm gonna try and bring this pure white zebra cake frosting look back to that I had before I applied the wash. And I'm doing that so that, you know, we have something in the recesses to make it look different without me actually having to carefully pin wash everything, because I don't have the patience for that. I've already put checkers and zebra stripes and every other pattern on this guy. I don't think this is the time to start deciding to pin wash. Molten Mantle is a great color. It's one I'm happy to have in my own personal arsenal of color. I've got the charging cable for my phone coming down and getting in the way of things, so let me wrap that somewhere else. Ooh, that sounds cool. Mer people with color shift. Yeah, I could see that working out well. Some of their color shift I like, some I'm not. I don't think it quite works for me because you should be applying it with an airbrush or in super thin layers, and I'm usually just one thick coat as a person and a mentality. I have a orc. I want to say my Ruckatruck Squig Buggy is painted with a shifter that's supposed to shift from, like, pink to gold. And I have, like, I don't know, 8 layers of it painted on. And it's just kind of shiny pink. It doesn't really do the shifting effect. I think it's equal parts the paint wanting to be applied with an airbrush, which I didn't have it at the time, and me putting it on too thick. So it might be that that just isn't going to work for me, or I need to try and, you know, figure out a different strategy for the color shift paints. I'm liking how this kind of white and tan is looking. I think I'll keep the stripes sort of painted in the washed over dark brown because I think that looks good. But this looks more like frosting now. Frosting under some kind of like cracked dry cake. And some people might not like that look, but for me and my purposes, that's a perfectly valid and acceptable way of painting a miniature. And the more thinned down the white gets, it looks like thinner icing, so I could work with that as well, where I want to have it thinner in places and thicker in others. It's cool. Learning new methodologies. It's a worthwhile pursuit. Did I use a black undercoat? Yes. Yes, I did. I specifically looked at the vial, the dropper bottle, and did what it told me to do. Because that is how stuff gets done. Hector, are you agreeing or disagreeing with that strategy, baby? Because you're loud. He's just lying on the ground, meowing like something's troubling him, when in reality, nothing at all is wrong. Just being a drama king over there. I am hoping to finish up painting the actual guy today. I'd like to have that done. Maybe I'll add some silver chips, you know, off stream at some point, but if I could get this guy finished up, I can move on to painting the things that I'm probably kind of supposed to be painting. I have to balance that with getting my tournament army ready, and you saw me building the orcs for that. They are now primed. I gave them a good old-fashioned zenithal prime. And I will need to paint them, but I kind of also have other stuff to work on, and I'm sure the good folks of this channel would like me to make a video at some point. That would probably be good, so we'll need to stop painting orcs randomly in order to get some content produced. You're not a heathen for thinning your paints. That's probably what you're supposed to do. I tried to thin my paints for Turbo Dork like it said on the package, but you know, for someone who does not have a lot of experience thinning paints, I probably didn't get them to the right consistency, which could have also affected that. But yeah, I've got the orcs that we built on a different stream primed up. They're ready to go. They're looking pretty good. I'm excited. They seem to have come out good. My zenithal did okay. Really, I'd like to be painting these a lot, but I like painting. Yes, one thick coat is a good philosophy. I quite enjoy that. I'm glad. Thank you for being a patron, first of all. Appreciate that. Second of all, thank you for that endorsement to paint whatever I want. I might do some of the painting projects that I'm supposed to work on then. Some of the commissions that I need to finish. I don't know if you guys want to see me work on painting Marathi, because she's like a big freaking snake lady, which is so far from the usual content that I make, and is being painted in a color scheme that my friend picked out, so it's not like a usual, oh, what food is this? This is how we're going to paint Marathi, which is fine. I mean, they picked fun colors. They're not the box art scheme, and they match the rest of his army, so it's cool. But it's definitely like, this is not my typical work. And I painted over that stripe. We're gonna fix that somehow. That stripe's just gonna get naturally broken up by me adding some bullshit texture. Yep, that looks right. At least more right than it did before. Giant woman, yep, exactly. She's an even bigger centerpiece than this. and this is the first centerpiece model that I've worked this far on. Marathi's still in her base coating stage. There's a lot of little details that I want to pick out. So, you know, haven't quite gotten her to this stage, but she needs to get done. People watch me paint. Yeah, Dana's Snake Lady is pretty cool. I think I need to finish this Snake Lady by the same tournament that I'm taking my kruleboys to, because I think maybe my friend is taking the Snake Lady to the same tournament. I cannot remember. I should really double check with him and figure that out, because that kind of puts a deadline on things. But you know, it'll get done by the time my client needs it, because I am very responsible and good at time management. Yeah, but we gotta finish this guy up so I can work on other stuff. And I need to finish my 2,000 points. Because it'll feel really good to have those done. Until, Games Workshop is like, oh, hey, you know that Kruleboy army that you finished, Fives? What if we released new stuff for that army that you now want to use? And I'll be like, you know what? That screws with my entire army list plan, and I don't like you very much now. So I hope that other factions get updates for a while. Like, give us more Idanet Deepkin like they've been doing. I think we can handle that. Stick with them. I think maybe Beastmen need an update. From what I hear, they haven't gotten one in a while, so maybe go over there, mess with somebody else. Kruleboys are new, though, so I guess it's fair that they're getting a lot of attention, because, they don't have a backlog of stuff. I have a backlog, but only because I purchased practically the entire line. I think there's only one Kruleboys model that I don't own, and that's Evil Dobby, who I don't intend to purchase. The Marsh Crawler Slogoth is just scary. I don't like it. Just sad. Sad troll man. I don't like him. There's something about him that just disturbs me. And I know I'm not the only one. Other people have said this. But other than that, I think I own every Kruleboy model. That speaks to a certain shopping addiction. Which, is fine. I did have Blood Bowl at my local game store yesterday. That was super fun. I did not buy anything at my local game store. I went in, I played Blood Bowl, I looked at their selection, and I did not buy anything. I'm very proud of myself. Did they have stuff I wanted? Yes. They always do. I've decided that I also wanted to do the hands with the white, so it's getting at least a little bit of it. Just think it looks cool. It does kind of look like icing. Like, maybe no one else will think that but me, but I'm still gonna count it, I think that it'll read good enough. No one's gonna stop me. No one could stop me. Yeah, the Eldar update. I mean, they'd been needing an update for forever, right? They're one of the oldest 40K factions that haven't, like, their models are probably older than I am. Or at least some of them are. So I'm glad they got updated. I know people had been wanting new, like a range refresh for Eldar. People were saying, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, and you know it happens. I hope that they don't, like, change anything too dramatically that you can't use your old army. I hope you're just excited about new models, like, you know? I know people weren't super hype for how orcs would work as, the Grand Alliance or Big Wa or whatever it is when kruleboys were introduced, because they didn't quite know how that was going to work out, so if Eldar have, like, a similar thing, then I hope that, hope it doesn't mess up your army plans. If it does mess them up, I hope it's not too bad. I hope it's not devastating. Ooh, okay, a Viper. I am not sure I know what a Eldar Viper looks like, so is that a ship or is that like a guy? Viper sounds like a ship. Is that the little surfboards that they stand on? Is that what a Viper is? Tower are the ones with the little circle drones that I keep wanting to say are like R2-D2s or something. They're, you know, they look like they could fit in kind of a Star Wars universe. But Eldar have the big helmet things going on. That was the grav tank? Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. I saw a post today of, like, an Eldar faction, I think it was, and they had, like, helmets that looked kind of like skeletons. I liked those. Those were fun. Hadn't seen that before. I haven't looked at a lot of Eldar stuff just because it wasn't a faction that gripped me, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play Eldar, so I didn't check out too much of their stuff, and maybe I should have, because those skelly boys looked pretty fun. Okay, jet bike is the Viper. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Do you have an opinion, Hector? What's your stance on Eldar? He says they're good. The Council of Hector has weighed in on the situation. You had the fire prism tank. Okay. So each army kind of has, like, their little, like, gimmick to it. What is like the Eldars? Are they good at shooting? Are they good at close combat? Like, what is a good way to play them? Because frankly, I'm not the best strategist, and most of the time I just want to get in and punch things. So it would be stupid of me to purchase any army that's like, yeah, melee is not gonna be a place where we do well. Hector is a good cat. Yep, he is. He's such a good boy. I had some friends over this weekend, and we played some board games, and Hector and Lobster usually kind of avoid new people, but my friends really wanted to see them, and so we bribed them out with some treats, And Hector went around, and once he got comfortable, he was getting pets from everybody, and it was very sweet, and I was so proud of him for socializing. He was such a good boy. So I'm very proud of both of them. Lobster is a little bit mad at me because the vet said he needed to take some eye drops because he's been having some little crusties around his eye, and we just want to, take care of that while we can. They said it's probably just stress related from moving. It's just probably a flare-up of something that he's had all his life because, the cat picks up an infection or something. And we got him from a shelter, so who knows what was going on there. But yeah, so he's a little mad because twice a day I have to get him to take eye drops, and it's not the most graceful process for either of us. Okay, Eldar are supposed to be fast and versatile. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, hey, that's fair. I don't really play 40k too much just because of Age of Sigmar feeling more welcoming at my local store. So I tend to stick with that. Plus, most of our local 40k scene is mad that our store requires vaccinations in order to play at events, so I'm more than happy to stick with playing Age of Sigmar with the people who don't mind being vaccinated in order to play in events, so that's what I'm gonna stick to for now. Maybe 40k in the future, Hector. Maybe in the future. We'll have to somehow figure out, I think some people on TikTok or whatever are doing stuff like my cat chooses their favorite color by just holding up colors to the cat and seeing which one it goes towards. I'd love to find a way to do my cats choose Warhammer factions, and then have them pick a color scheme or an alliance within that faction or something like that, and then paint up a few models in my cat's chosen colors. I feel like that would be very stupid but very fun. Yeah, that's what I've found, Richard, and welcome to the stream. That Age of Sigmar does tend to have a much more welcoming crowd for one, and also they don't seem to mind being observant of any COVID restrictions that are in place. I've never seen anyone in our group complain about wearing a mask in the shop or anything like that. We've all just been really chill. So, happy with how that's been. Go. Slow process, but we're getting it done. We'll get this other arm done. We'll get the legs done. By that time, I'm hoping that the glaze on the orc will be dry and we can go in, give him his final highlights. He'll be all done. He'll be looking good. He'll go from looking predominantly orange to having the more yellow tint that my other orcs have, and that's pretty exciting to see. Always wanted a yellow army for Age of Sigmar, just because yellow is one of those colors that I really enjoy. Not painting with per se, but I have a lot of yellow decorations in my house. I think it's a very happy, nice color. It fights with mint green for my favorite, and I already have a army of mint green orcs, so having some yellow orcs, it's a good fit. That way, whatever mood I'm in, 40k or Age of Sigmar, I have an army and a color that I like. these guys, they're gonna all get done. I will finish the vulture on stream. I just haven't quite felt like working on him recently. I've been more excited about finishing this guy up for whatever reason, and I'm just trying to capitalize on that, keeping it going. But I had a busy weekend with people coming over. I had Blood Bowl yesterday, so it feels good to, like, all weekend I was like, I kind of want to paint a mini, but, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, but I have a scheduled event, so if I get really into it, I'm just going to have to pack it up in a couple of hours, and you can't really sink into what you're doing and let it take over all of your time. So I didn't actually get around to painting anything. I did do a lot of cleaning, which was good. Unpacked a little bit more, which was also good, and had a fun time entertaining my friends, which I hadn't been able to do for a while. So I'm not mad about not having a chance to paint this weekend. I'm just glad I have a chance to paint now and share some hobby time with you guys. I appreciate you stopping by and spending a bit of your Tuesday with me. Yeah, and I've been, for those of us joining later, I've been drinking this blue cherry lemonade from the corner store that tastes just like blue raspberry Kool-Aid. It is delicious. If you ever see this, I have no idea what even I guess Tropical Fantasy is the name of the company, but if you have a craving for blue raspberry lemonade Kool-Aid and for whatever reason can't find it, this is a very acceptable substitute. Did you guys get up to anything fun on the weekend? Have you played any Warhammer lately? Are you working on painting anything now? What are y'all up to? Or I guess, do you have plans to game or paint later? I would like to know. I try and remember what kind of stuff, what kind of armies you guys have, but my memory it's flaky at best, like a good pie crust, so doesn't always remember what you guys were working on. I know someone last time was making some flying squigs, which was just a great concept, so I love seeing stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. My Instagram page is always filled with some really cool ideas, and I like seeing more and more of it. Finished up the drummers for your demon army that are just giant disembodied hearts with tentacles. Ah, okay, cool. Hey Cam, how are you doing? You primed your unpainted snotlings. Very cool. Welcome to the stream. Happy to see you here. Snotlings are tons of fun. If I have it correct, I believe you're the one who is painting your snotlings to look like various kinds of frogs, which is possibly one of the best ideas for snotlings I've ever heard or seen. So, if that is you, Cameron, you carry on with that. I would like to see more frog snotlings. And if it's not, and you're a different Cameron, sorry for mistaking you for the other Cameron, consider painting your snotlings like frogs. Yeah, I mean, I stream at really random times because it's kind of whatever day I feel like painting and whatever time I feel like painting. So don't feel bad if you can't catch a stream. I don't really mind. I'm kind of going to be here and painting because I need to have some motivation and it's fun, and I like making content, so this is a really easy way to do all of those things, but not have the pressure of any kind of schedule. So if I don't stream for a week, or if I stream every day for a week, it doesn't really make a difference, because I wasn't planning or scheduling anything anyway. Okay, working on merfolk while on vacation, that makes sense. Flying squigs will still be there for you when you get home. Excellent. Excellent. And it's one kind of frog that you have your heart set on, but you love both frogs and snotlings very much, I assume, which is valid. Frogs are really cool. I saw a TikTok recently of a lady who was saying that she would not do anything that a little frog sitting on a lily pad wouldn't do. And it was just, I feel like that's a really, really good method for judging whether an action is right or wrong, better than asking, is this something I should or shouldn't do? Just, is this something that a little frog sitting on a lily pad would or wouldn't do? I thought that was just very sweet and cute. Now I'm thinking of it again, because, I mean, frog snotlings are different than calm little lily pad frogs. I imagine they're a good bit more chaotic, but I thought it was a good judge of character, so to speak. I can't wait to see more of your frog snotlings and more of your flying squigs. And and Josh, if you post photos of your merfolk, definitely tag me in them so I can see them, because, you know, my Instagram gets full of random stuff and I forget to respond to things that I like if I'm not shouted at in it. But if you shout at me, I'll respond to you by tagging me, gently poking me and being like, hey, don't you think this is cool? And I'll be like, hell yeah, this is cool. Yeah, they have made a couple now. There's someone that's posted, like, drawings of little frogs doing all the things, like not being mean to the candlestick maker and causing a ruckus and playing a little banjo. I just think I really like frogs at the end of the day. Especially frogs doing cute things. I know I have some frog miniatures somewhere. Like, I have a frog wearing a fish on its head, and he's called the Frog Pope, and I really am excited to paint that mini at some point in time. It's yet another of my tons of minis that are sitting around waiting for me to paint them. Well, instead of doing that, I buy more orcs. What can you do? I like orcs, and I need them for my army. But I swear once this 2,000 point army is finished, I'm gonna paint some stuff that isn't orcs. I've been thinking about doing a series of painting up the miniatures from that board game, Townsfolk Tussle, that I unboxed. They're really fun, and I got to play that this weekend. And it was really, really fun. But I was playing with miniatures that were only Zenithal primed, and I was like, some painted miniatures would definitely make this game more fun. And I'd love to kind of research what color processes were available for 1930s cartoons at the time, and try and find the closest paint approximations to those colors, and then only use that. Because animation history is a bit of a passion of mine. So being able to ramble on about Fleischer Studios and the 2-color process versus the 3-color process and the stereooptical process and all these other cartoon things that really fascinate me would be a lot of fun, while just kind of also painting miniatures and getting my pile of things to paint a little bit smaller. So that could be a direction to go. We'll see, though. buy more plastic, ignore the plastic that needs painted. Yeah, that's not a it's gonna be bad, isn't it? Because I'm gonna go to that tournament, and there's definitely gonna be people. There's gonna be vendors selling things. And the second I see anything that's frog-shaped, maybe a wombat. I've been asking somebody to make a model of a wombat dressed for combat and call it the Combat Wombat. Because that is such a clever pun, idea, wordplay, whatever you want to call it. Why is there not a Combat Wombat? Like, that's so good. That is a free idea put out into the world. And I just want to see what it would look like and also paint the miniature of it. Yeah. So that's a thing. But definitely if I see any miniatures on the, like, cute, adorable animal side of things, they're probably gonna come home with me. And then I'm gonna come back and be like, okay, I played like 40 games of Warhammer. I won 3 of them. And I spent a whole butt ton of money on plastic things that I did not need. I think that's what you want from the tournament experience. I think it'll just be correct. Maybe. We'll see. Could be very wrong. Who knows? I haven't been to one before. I'm very nervous about it, but everyone who I talk to about it seems to think I'll have a good time, so I'm definitely going. I'll try and do a better catalog. Like, people ask me how my games or battles go, and I want to give them good reports, but I also forget to write stuff down. I need to be more like in Queen's Gambit, where they have the little notepads right next to all the chessboards, and they record their moves, and I could be like, this round of orcs to D7, except, I mean, it's not, Warhammer boards aren't laid out on a grid system, so it's kind of, it's not a perfect comparison, but you can kind of get where I'm going with it. You get the idea. I don't know if it's worth trying to paint up in that elbow because you're not even going to see it, but I guess I'll try. Get a little bit of color in there at least. Don't want to ruin anything, but don't want to make it stand out as not having been detailed like the rest either. It's the part that just gets weird with some of these models. It's like, yeah, close enough. He's big. He's got a lot going on. Hopefully, no one's gonna be like, well, actually, you didn't paint this little tiny part correctly. Like, duh, man, it's an inch big. Not even, it's like, you know, it's barely visible. An inch would probably be pretty visible on these miniatures. Inch was not the correct measurement to go with, but it's the one I chose. Hoping it'll look good going down his back as well. Then I might add a couple of white streaks into his tail just to kind of amp up the zebra nature of it. Because zebras, I think they have both black and white in their manes. I don't know. Zebras aren't native to the place that I live, so I can't just... I guess I could look up a picture of a zebra. That would probably be pretty smart. But instead of doing that, I'll just try and imagine a picture of a zebra and see if I can remember. This has become very unstable, and I'm wondering if I snapped it at some point in the painting process and need to re-glue it. So that also might be a concern. You'd think I'd know how finicky these models are after the pain that was assembling those orcs, who are extremely less complicated than this. But I tend to lose sight of that when I'm just whacking away at something with a dry brush, come what may. Just how I end up breaking models. Yes, even if that cage falls off, it'll still look okay. He's still got a lot going on, but I think it's good with the counterbalance there, so I might have to reattach that in the end, but it'll be fine. You can see on the base, I went a little overboard with the wash, because you can see everywhere that it kind of leaked out and stained and ran. I really did just slop it on there, and the brush I was trying to use, it's pretty dried up. I've been trying not to buy more brushes, because I just beat the crap out of them, but honestly, I either need to bring some of these really crusty ones back from the dead, or just get a couple more, because I need something better to apply washes with, and I need to remember to rinse it out thoroughly. Or I need to find a very cheap disposable solution for brushes. Or I guess I could go the army painter route and buy one of their freaking cans of toner, which is just like their shade paint. I guess they have different dark tone, medium tone, green tone. It's just a wash. But the picture on the side shows someone like holding their model with tweezers and just dipping it into like a paint can size of wash, which is, you know, essentially what I'm doing in as many steps for these guys. But I don't know, something about actually dunking a mini in like a bath of other paint scares me. I keep feeling like I'd drop it, he'd just be swimming around in wash forever, and I'd never get him back. Many of you guys use the big cans of Army Painter wash. Am I missing out, or is my fear completely validated? If anyone has experience with them, let me know. I always appreciate hearing from someone who's tested a product before I spend my hard-earned, and some of my patrons' hard-earned dollars on it. Because I'm currently saving to get a better camera, but in the future I hope to be able to afford other hobby expenses like paint and stuff like that. Never dipped. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Haven't watched Goobertown's new video yet, but I see that he got the full Army Painter speed paint set. So I'm excited to see how those look. Another thing, I haven't pre-ordered or anything like that. But if they work as good as contrast paints, that'll be fun. I'm interested to see what Dana Howe will do with those as well, since she has a lot of fun contrast paint schemes, and I feel like for contrast paint, I don't necessarily want to buy enough to do paint schemes with at the price that they are, but if I get the speed paint set, I might stick with it. Army Painter is just more affordable, and I really appreciate that about them. You don't think the dips are in style anymore? Probably not. It could be some old stuff that my local game store just still has. I've never seen anyone purchase them. I've never seen anyone with a channel use them. So I guess it makes sense that they went out of style. I was just very curious about it. Glad you're excited for the speed paints, Goober. I really hope that I get the chance to try some of them out. I'm interested to hear what the consensus is, you know? I like getting multiple perspectives on that and seeing how it goes. But everybody seems quite positive, so I'm optimistic. Scale color instant color, so uninterested in speed paints. But you like and endorse the idea. Okay, cool. Yeah, I hear that Scale Color has that similar product as well. My local game store doesn't carry Scale Color, which is why I've never tried it out. I try and buy local because my game store has been really kind to me and to other hobbyists, and I like to support it when I can. They've always been able to get the product in for me that I need. They've been realistic if they can't get something, and they've created a really, really great gaming environment. Even when I say that my local 40K club isn't as friendly, no one's discriminatory in that store. Like, they have a lot of pro LGBTQ plus stuff there, and it's nice that the gaming space in town is like that. So I try and make sure that if I have hobby money to spend, it goes to a store that I care about. It's very, very rare that I will make a hobby purchase and not have it be from them. So for something like paint, where I'm like, yeah, I mean, I already have some brands that I know how to work with. It would be fun to test out other brands, but they only really stock Turbo Dork, Army Painter, and Citadel. So I haven't even been able to try out Vallejo, which I'd really like to give a try, since everybody seems to be a pretty big Vallejo fan. I've heard really great stuff about their paint. Dungeon Craft with Professor Dungeon Master has used the dips, but he's very utilitarian. Just get it on the table. Fair enough. I mean, that's kind of why I'd like to try it out and see if it's good for... I would like to say models I don't care about, but I am sitting here thinking about how I do name all of the grots in my army and paint them, you know, more than just one or two colors, so I might not be the best in terms of utilitarianism for painting. When you love painting infantry, then you kind of do your darndest on it anyway. Big models like these, they just freak me out a little bit. He's not looking so bad though, right? Like, I mean, if I slap this down on you got to picture the base and that it's finished. So, like, you know, only look at it from there, but if I slap this down on the table, it wouldn't be so bad. You'd be like, yeah, that's a model someone spent some time on. That's not too bad. Someone gave that a try. He looks good. He looks ready to rumble. I hope so anyway. I know people take a lot of time on the big guys, but oh man, they scare the shit out of me. wow, we are up to 7 concurrent viewers. That's really cool. I don't know how to see all of you in here, and I think I was on top chat instead of live chat, so I may have missed a couple messages in there. And I apologize if I did. But thank you all for coming. That is really cool. Thanks for spending some of your Tuesday with me. I am continuing to paint this guy little by little, hoping to finish him off. Been streaming for about an hour and 10, so yeah, we've got a good chance of maybe not quite finishing him, but getting some decent progress made. I hope that we'll be able to finish, but I did decide to add more details as per usual, so who knows? It's more a contest of when does my back decide it doesn't want to be bent over looking at a miniature, than when am I tired and don't want to do this anymore. Also, I guess hand control is their brush control. Making sure my hands don't go shaky is a factor. Gotta build up that stamina. I'm not one of those kids who can sit down and play video games for 14 hours at a time. Some of my friends are, and honestly, it's impressive. Very impressive when people can do that. I cannot. Ghost Bear, you are watching and eating? Excellent. Good. Dinner and a show. I hope you're eating something tasty. You're having trouble. You're lucky having multiple hobby stores. Okay. Yeah, I hope that your stores are inclusive. It's always good when they are, and it's nice when the people who play at them or go to events make an effort to be inclusive. Even just starting out, introducing yourself to your opponent, being like, "Hi, my name is Fiverr, and I use they, them pronouns. It's nice to meet you," is gonna just kind of open that up for anyone who's, gender non-conforming the way that I am, to feel comfortable giving you their preferred name and preferred pronouns. So that's something nice that you can do if you're like, yeah, I want to make sure that the people in my scene feel included as well. So I try and remember to do that, but don't always, because I'm usually really enthusiastic about whatever game I'm playing. Have all of this dang excitement like a toddler hopped up on some serious sugar. Yeah. I'm glad you love this Troggoth. He is not a Troggoth. He's a swamp crawler something or other. I keep calling him a crocodile. I don't know if he's actually a crocodile either. I don't have the box right next to me. I think Sludge Raker Beast. That's what he's called. But close enough to Troggoth, honestly. I don't know exactly what a Sludge Raker Beast is, because as I've complained about before, the kruleboys lore is not quite as extensive as I would like it to be. But he's cool. Yeah, crocodile. I added him, and one of my friends had the absolute nerve after I won a game, because turns out he's a very good model and quite powerful and did a lot. And my friend, who's been trashing me for playing orcs in this tournament the whole time, despite the fact that he does not play Warhammer at all, he thinks I should be playing elves, because he enjoys fantasy elves. But he has the nerve to say that I'm just employing the same strategy as Five Nights at Freddy's by just adding alligator to what I'm doing. Because apparently a new version of that game came out and there's an alligator in it. I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know any of the lore. But apparently we have the same strategy for 2022, in that adding alligators will lead to victory. So that was a very cursed thing that I got to contemplate for a little bit of my hobby time. Yeah, I think it's close enough. Oh, hi, Mark. I didn't see you there. You are listening while painting Bushido miniatures. Cool. Cool. Welcome to the madness. Happy to have you. Oh no, you did not disrespect my zebra cake monster's pronouns. I think I think Parsnip. That's what I decided to name him. If he has a strong sense of gender identity, I think he would use he him pronouns. So, I mean, that's what I've been using this entire time, and he's my little piece of plastic. So that's what we're gonna stick with. I guess all orcs are technically non-binary since they grow out of, like, mushrooms, but they can choose to identify however they'd like. It's going to be valid for them. You think that this looks like oh gosh. Oh, okay. You think it looks like a reptile ancestor from a hojillion years ago. I thought at first that you were, like, referencing a specific monster there, Ghost Bear, like a hojillion was like a Godzilla or something, but you were just making up a term for lots and lots of years. That works. Yeah. He could be an ancestor to a modern reptile. There's a similarity. If you can get a dinosaur from a chicken, I feel like getting a Komodo dragon or a crocodile from this guy isn't too far off. I don't know a lot about science, though, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand, whatever, the genetic, not mutation, natural selection process, that would lead us here. Would be interesting, though. I'm not gonna do fantasy creature genealogy to try and figure out how these things exist. I'm just going to appreciate him for the beautiful little monster that he is. Try and make sure that all of his cute little wrinkles have little highlights and he looks his best. He's pretty cute for, a poisonous killing machine. It's a shame that his little cheeks are covered by the fabric straps, or we could give him little anime blushies on his face, which would also be very cute. But we're not going to do that because we're serious Warhammer players and we take our candy armies very seriously. Right? That sounds like something a wargamer would say. Oh, jeez. That does not sound like anything a wargamer would say. But here we are, doing the thing. Yeah, lads and boys can certainly be used that way with orcs. Anything spelled with a Z honestly just makes it more fun. I remember cracking up when I learned that they were just orc boys with a Z. Thought that was hilarious. I actually continue to spell orc with a K. When talking with friends, I forget that it's spelled with a C in normal people conversations. So that's definitely a way that Warhammer has victimized my life and the lives of my friends. They have to deal with my misspellings all the time. They're adapting. So many little plates and scales and wrinkles and folds. I don't actually quite know if I'm highlighting all of this correctly, but if it's wrong, my excuse is going to be it's frosting or powdered sugar, and it just looks that way. So if anybody is like, oh, you missed this, it wasn't a miss. It was not a mistake. That was intentional in order to make him look the most like a zebra cake that I could. I do have, speaking of Trogoths, I do have the, I think he's the Meyerbrute Trogoth is what he's called. And I'm painting him to look like a cosmic brownie. So he will join the snack cakes on the battlefield, when he is finished. I think he's gonna go in my final list. It's either gonna be, I'm bringing along that Meyerbrute Trogoth, because he costs 180 points. Or I have a 4th unit of boys. Of the Gut Rippers. Because they also cost 180 points. So I don't know if having 40 orcs as opposed to 30 orcs is going to be better. How many unnecessary U's do I add to words because of Citadel? That's a good question. I've never been very good at spelling, so probably a lot. I tend to spell everything how I think it is phonetically, which doesn't always work out when I don't hear things correctly. Like soldier, I keep thinking that there's a G in that somewhere. I don't know why. Because to me it's like a DG sound in it, and I will spell it like that, even though it's wrong. And Wednesday is another word that I just can't spell. So if I'm spelling stuff with extra U's or omitted U's, it's not surprising. Warhammer has inflicted England on the U.S. Well, even worse, I have a ton of friends in Ireland now, and like we'll be chatting on Discord, and they'll spell like all kinds of words with extra U's, and I'm the odd one out. I'm the only American in the group, so they're correct and I'm wrong. There are more of them. So I have to, like, I think flavor is one of those ones that is spelled weird. You know. But my older sister had, like, a big Doctor Who phase that I was, like, adjacent to when I was in middle school. And she insisted on like, spelling everything the British way, because she just thought it was different and better. And I was already confused about how to spell things still, so I'm sure there are a couple misspellings that are a holdover from that have leaked their way into my permanent lexicon. And that's fine. I'll just deal with it. There's also gray and gray, like Grey and Gray are both correct. And at that point, it was at that point where I realized that both words' spellings could be correct. That why does spelling even matter, really? Like, if I spell a word wrong, but you still know what I'm trying to say, like, I don't think I did that bad. If my point gets across, we're fine. Surprisingly, my English teachers did not think that was, an acceptable reason to not spell words correctly, but if I can write a passionate essay or a really good poem, and there's a couple of misspelled words in it, like, that's what the good Lord invented spell check for. It'll be fine in the end. So many things we just don't need to be so uptight about, in my opinion. Like, I suck at math. So much. It's always been really difficult for me. And nowadays, I just have a calculator on my phone. I can Google what 30% of 286 is if I really need to know for some reason. And I never bother about fractions or anything like that. So I wish that hadn't seemed like such a huge important concern on the daily in school. I remember being stupidly obsessed, not obsessed, worried about math being really relevant. Tiaboo? I guess so. I haven't heard that term before, but I guess that's like weeaboo for Brit. Jeez. Oh man. Yeah, I guess that works. Although lots of other places drink tea, so I don't know. I can't remember how long that lasted, and my sister and I don't get along, so I hope she's, she's over it by now. She went through a lot of different phases, but I went through a phase where all I listened to was Green Day and thought I was really cool and deep and stuff like that, so it's not like I've been spared from the middle school phases. Some of them definitely got me. Yeah. Show my English teachers now that I'm painting candy-colored monsters on YouTube. Listen, I honestly, if my English teachers are out there, I hope that they've just forgotten that I exist, frankly. The idea that a teacher could remember me is terrifying. I hope that I've just disappeared into the ether and they do not recall me with fondness or chagrin, any of that. Just let me have had my school experience and not come back. The great part is, when I eventually legally change my name, as I want to do, because, unfortunately, I was not given the name that I wanted by my parents, I will fade even further into obscurity, as they will not know any students called Fiverr, so it'll be all the more easy for me to completely have vanished from the record. Quite nicely and neatly. And then math, English, or any other subject won't really have mattered. And I can still paint candy monsters on YouTube. Don't need a degree for that. Have one, though. Do have a degree in media arts, so I have an art degree, and I'm using it for this. So I don't know what that tells you about how art school goes and how crap of a time it is to get a job in the art world. But I'm doing this with my Tuesday night. If my teacher was named Hazel, yeah, I guess for the Watership Down reference, that's very clever, Ghost Bear. I do not recall any teachers named Hazel. But then again, I don't think I knew most of my teachers first way, just last names, so. Or if I did know, I've long forgotten. Best left behind me, those memories, honestly. What I do miss, though, I miss school plays. I miss, that happening and being able to go see a mediocre production of a classic for $2. I guess school theater still happens, and I know it would be weird to go to a school now for a theater production that I don't have a child in and did not go to the school of, but there's something about that particular mood of this just being people attempting, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm communicating the vibe, but it's kind of just the fast food entertainment option of plays, and I miss that happening. There are no school plays to go to when you're an adult. It's kind of just, it's kind of just you have real theater or you don't. My name is a misspelled math. So actually, fiver, well, yes, being a term for a dollar bill, I guess technically a misspelling of the number 5, if you want to take it like that. Yeah, I guess. It is the reference to the character in Watership Down. The classic novel, so literary analysis there. Maybe my English teachers would be proud of that, but we didn't read Watership Down in any of my school classes. I found that one all on my own. But yeah, that's where it comes from. Not so much math and numbers. And unfortunately, the government will not let you have a number character in the spelling of your name. So I can't just spell it 5, like the number 5 and then the letter R. So I can't, be like a cool robot with my spelling or anything like that. Oh, thank you. The stream froze. Excellent. Someone told me before I continued on for 20 years. Alright, we're going to stop this, and then we're going to start it again. Everybody hold your horses. If you got horses to hold your miniatures, I guess. Let's see. Okay. Gotta get this back up and running. Technical difficulties. It'll be but a moment. I'd say entertain yourselves, but you're tuning into this stream almost exclusively for the purpose of being entertained. So, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm showing video here, but it's very fuzzy, and I don't know why. So let's see if I can get that to stop and try and start it again, because I don't want to give you guys fuzzy video if I can give you slightly less fuzzy video. I suppose, there we go. I think we're Looney Tunes back in action now. Can you see? Can you see all the details we've been putting in there? Look at that. Look at that. Good crocodile monster. And bonus, because you waited so patiently, lobster is just loafing on the ground. So you get a bonus lobster, because you were patient, and I appreciated that. Working on terrain, Ghost Bear, that's cool. I should make sure. Is that the planter I think you sent me? Or maybe it was like the liquor store that you were painting, I think. That was cool. I don't know why you said it was a planter, or maybe I'm misremembering and thinking about plants, or maybe it is a planter. I don't know. Yeah, seen the cartoon? It's probably scarred into your mind if you saw it as a kid. It's quite violent for children, which is fine. I think that all kids need to be there's a lot of stuff in cartoons that was violent or scared me as a kid, but you can have things like Goosebumps and stuff like that, like scarier cartoons, experience some horror as a child the same way that adults experience horror films. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I definitely think it's a good spooky if you're, into horror, or you're a kid who likes spookier stuff. But if you went into it thinking it was a cute film about bunnies, you might not be having as good a time. However, I really just enjoy Fiverr as a character. There's a lot of moving from place to place and having gone through some serious crap and having to find a family and rely on people who don't always end up doing what's best for you, or they don't trust you at key moments, and, you know, stuff happens. Like, I've been through some similar stuff, so liked it. Plus, the name doesn't really have any strong gender, like, leanings either way, which was definitely something that I was looking for, since we're putting the non-binary vibes out there and enjoying that. It's a planter on a liquor store. Fair. Okay, cool. You'll have to show me some photos of that as it progresses. I think you're putting some bad guy posters on it, or maybe some good guy posters on it. There were posters on the side of it last you showed me, and they were looking really cool. I liked them. Oh, cool. Old D&D characters are fun. And naming them after literary characters sounds cool. You named one Finch. Is that after Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird? Because, I mean, either way, both Finch and Atticus would be good names for D&D characters. I'm pleased with that either way. This tail has so many little wrinkles in it. I'm trying to get them all. Glad Lobster's come by close enough to loaf. He's forgiven me for giving him eye drops. Secrets of Nim. That's a spooky cartoon for kids. Yes, absolutely. Brilliantly animated, no less, by Sullivan Bluth Studios. Fun fact about Sullivan Bluth Studios, actually. So, I don't know if you know, but you've gotten me on an animation history track that I can talk about, so you're gonna have to endure that. But, Sullivan Bluth was started by Don Bluth, who used to work for Disney, and got kind of fed up with not being able to have more creative control and stuff like that, and he, you know, wanted to go off and start his own studio, and he did exactly that. And their very first film, I mean, they did a short film, I think, first, called Banjo the Woodpile Cat, which is pretty charming. It's pretty cute. But Secret of Nim was their first feature-length release, and they were like the first studio to really go toe-to-toe with Disney, which was ultimately their downfall, because I'll get to that. We'll move further on down the line. But anyway, one of the things about Secrets of Nim that's really interesting, Disney likes to kind of paint its history as being inclusive with women, and having women in the ink and paint department. But Disney never let women be animators. He didn't think that they had the skills or the talent for it or anything like that. There's some good old-fashioned sexism in there, for sure. Very much a boys' club at Disney. But right from the start, if you go back and you watch Secrets of Nim, there are females all over, like, women just working in every department. And there's a really sweet interview with Don Bluth where he talks about the scene where Mrs. Brisby learns how her husband died, and that it was trying to drug the out of focus bonus lobster. Yeah, he jumped up on the desk. But when he learns about when Mrs. Brisby learns about how her husband died, he said that he very specifically wanted one of the female animators that he respected to animate that scene, because he knew that she specialized in doing those really, like, subtle but emotional scenes, which are some of the harder things to animate. It's easy to convey action, when you have characters fighting and stuff, but to get those, like, human emotions and stuff like that communicated on these characters, to hear him right from the get-go be like, yeah, one of our most talented animators is a woman, and we gave this scene to her specifically because we knew she'd be the best suited for it in this project, like, that's some powerful stuff. Quite happy to hear about that. And I love Sullivan Bluff Studios. They did An American Tail, which was one of my favorites as a kid. Despite its very problematic depictions of some unfortunate stereotypes, which, looking back on things, there's some problematic stuff. That studio was not perfect. Nothing that came out of anything at that time was perfect and shouldn't be ignored, but as a kid, I didn't really understand what a stereotype was and liked my little cartoons. Unfortunate now. But, that was one of their ones. They did Land Before Time, and then I think Anastasia was another one of their bigger ones. But they started to kind of fumble because when Secrets of NIMH came out, it released alongside a Disney film. I don't remember which one, unfortunately. I could look it up, but I'm not going to because I'm painting white streaks in this crocodile monster's tail. It went right up against a Disney film, and it beat it at the box office, which was completely unheard of. And ever since that happened, they kept doing their releases on the same day as Disney films. And yeah, Hector, I know it's sad. It was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. You know why it was a bad idea? Because they never quite beat it by enough to make a profit. And maybe if they had just shared the time and done releases not with Disney films, they would have gotten a better portion of that market share. They wouldn't have gone under, but they had big bankruptcy problems that they never recovered from. Yeah, that's why. Bit of pride in there. Shame. Very talented animators, very interesting studio. Anyway, thank you for bringing that up. Love the Secrets of NIMH. Love the color palettes. Would love to do a Skaven army with a Secrets of NIMH theme. I think about it all the time. I don't have the money to invest in another army. I don't need another army. I have to keep telling myself these things or I will accidentally buy another army, which I do not need. But yes, Secrets of NIMH, wonderful. Absolutely adore it. You've been behind by like 5 minutes, that's fine. I think I ranted about cartoons for 5 minutes, so if you just skip ahead past that, you should be all caught up. Spoofy, but it's no Black Cauldron. Black Cauldron! Oh man, that's another interesting bit of animation history. Personal history for me, I used to have these family reunions that I would go to up in the mountains with all of my cousins when we were little. This was the VHS tape days, mind you. So we brought, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 movies with us. And those were the only ones that we had for the weekend. And, if it was a rainy day or whatever, or, we were just kids and we wanted to watch a movie, we ended up watching one of those 3 generally over and over again. To the point where I think I can recite some scenes from the live-action Cat in the Hat from memory, because that was just one of the films that we had. But one year, The Black Cauldron was one of the movies that we had, and the Horned King scared the shit out of me. So that was a tough one for me. I had to confront some terrifying things daily. I went back and watched The Black Cauldron, not too long ago, and it's not as scary as I had built it up to be as a kid, but I can understand why that particular film would have terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. Yeah. It's unfortunate, some of the beliefs about what men and women can or can't do in terms of, industry, but it's not like that problem exists in isolation in animation. It's all across things, and quality is a fight. Ugh. Hector's a fan of equality, aren't you, buddy? He's purring. Strangely silent with no beeps on that. Probably because he thinks cats are superior to humans. Or, he's only 1.5 years old. Equality might be a bit of a strange concept for him. Still learning that one. But yeah, you get me off about cartoons. We can talk about some cartoons. There's also a really great video essay by another channel that I'm a really big fan of. If you've ever watched the channel Bread Sword before, they do a great video about The Black Cauldron being a good Halloween movie that I recommend you check out if interested in that film at all. It goes into the details of the struggle it was to get made and stuff like that, so it's quite interesting. I enjoyed it. Have a good night, Goober. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you sleep well. Dream of orcs, or whatever your desired miniature fantasy creature is. I hope you have a fun dream about them. For me, it would be orcs, but not everybody chooses orcs, and that's fine. I don't have to understand that. I just have to accept it. Almost got all the white part done. I've just got this leg to do, and then that'll be done. So we're moving right along. Yeah! You've come back to weigh in on the situation and try and scratch my leg, Hector? Bonus Hector, because he wants cuddles and will not leave me alone. Want to say hi to the people? Do you want to say hello? Look at this boy. Look at this snuggly little boy. Have I seen Spine of the Night? No, I do not know what that is. That sounds cool. It's a good title. Is it an anime? Is it a movie? Is it a cartoon? What are we talking here, Josh? Give me some deets. Right, run along, little man. Run along. Because Spine of the Night, that kind of sounds like something that would be in the Castlevania vein of things. And frankly, the void Castlevania's finale left in me by just knowing that there would not be another season of Castlevania is potent. I would have watched several more seasons of that show. Quite enjoyed it. Having never played the video games, of course, I can't speak to any accuracy, but it was fun. The fights were violent. The animation was interesting, if a little off at times. And Isaac was a character that I adored. Which is not Spine of the Night. Again, that's just me talking about Castlevania, because the moment anyone brings up a TV show, I have to compare it to something else or talk about one that I have seen. I'm hoping that Spine of the Night is a TV show. If it's not, then I've just gotten off topic. But it's my stream. I guess I can pick the topics. I'd Google spine of the night on a regular, like me just, chilling. But you're here to see me paint a crocodile. And so paint a crocodile I shall. It's a movie that was rotoscoped. Okay, cool. We love a good rotoscope. It was definitely a popular technique because it made things faster, cheaper, easier. I mean, pretty much everybody just shoots reference footage nowadays. Which isn't exactly rotoscoping, but definitely its spiritual successor, I would say. I think a lot of like older cartoons had rotoscoping in them because it was way easier to animate that than to draw everything by hand. I mean, still drawn by hand, but there's a difference between being able to trace a person's movements and having to understand on that complex a level the anatomy in order to design that action, map it out by yourself, and then execute it. It's really nice, too, that nowadays my Disney and animation history isn't just limited to what I can learn off the DVD extras at the end of films or in the menu screens. So many YouTube channels teaching me things I never knew before about the Disney parks, Disney animation, or any studio that I want to learn about. There's a video about it. It's also crazy because, learning in animation class that one of the first animated film, which is not actually Snow White like a lot of people think it is, there's a much older one by a woman named Lotte Rainer. I think she was German, called The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, and it's done using paper cutouts, but that is the actual earliest animated, in color, full-length feature that exists. It's not Snow White, like a lot of people think it is, and of course, the mythos of that for Disney is really good. I would say, Snow White's the first American one, and easily, it's very different from The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, which is, not as sophisticated in its animation or anything like that, but it is it's cool to find out that there are things that predate it. You got animators like Ladislaw Starvich, who was using dead insects in stop motion animation. He was an early animator back in the I think it's Winsor McKay days, old stuff. It's fascinating. I'm just on reciting my history of animation class. It's taken me back. Sorry for rambling about it so much, but it's cool stuff. It's interesting to me anyway. I like it. Okay, so Exordium is the prequel to the full-length movie that is Spine of Night. Okay. Well, I will have to check that out because I've not heard of it and would be interested in seeing what it's all about. Always exciting to hear. Are you gonna cut me off again, Hector? You are? I don't know if you can hear him meowing over there so far away, but the boy interrupts me. It's just rude. But I'll have to check those out, give them a look and see what kind of style and stuff we're talking about, because it's always exciting when someone tells me about a piece of animation that I have no context for. So where does heavy metal fit into animation history? That is an excellent question. In terms of what I know about heavy metal and animation, I can recommend you a music video. I know the song is called Freak of the Week, but I don't remember the band, unfortunately. But it's fairly modern. The animation in that music video, because it's all done animated at a quality that's honestly pretty ridiculous, is a revelation because it combines 3D and 2D animation in a way that is very similar to Disney's Deep Canvas software, which, as far as I know, has not had any public release, is patented, and is unlikely to be able to be utilized by the general populace. And Deep Canvas is basically a way that, like, if you think about that scene in Treasure Planet, the opening one, where Jim's going through the junkyard on the Solar Surfer, and the background is 3D, and the character is 2D, it's like how they can do those camera moves. It was also used in Tarzan, in one of those opening shots at the end of the I think it's like the second song, where he's surfing through the trees like it's a roller coaster, and then it ends with him jumping onto that branch and looking back at you directly into the camera. That's also some Deep Canvas stuff, but that music video has some shots that look like they were done in Deep Canvas, but couldn't have been, because as far as I'm aware, and I mean, I'm just one person who only knows but so much, Deep Canvas is not a thing accessible to the masses. So the fact that they developed something on their own for that video and were able to achieve at that high level, that group of animators, far and away, blew me away. Very impressive work. Apparently they had a really hard time picking up projects after it, though, because it did not get a lot of views or attention, which is unfortunate. So it's possible that the combination of heavy metal and traditional animation does not do as well as people would like it to. I, for one, would love to see more translations of heavy metal album covers into some animated pieces. I feel like there's an aesthetic there. They're capturing something. Also, does Kiss count as heavy metal? I don't know the designations as to what is general metal and what's heavy, and, you know, there's, like, all kinds of different stuff. But if they do count, and I apologize if they don't, again, I'm one person, I only know but so much. I believe that they were in an episode, they were in a Scooby-Doo movie. So you can look into that if you would like to see Kiss and Scooby-Doo team up. Apparently Hector thinks watching that would be much more interesting than watching this stream. Is it my mistake for not putting your cartoons on? It is? You've been grumpy ever since we finished The Witcher, little man. You're just gonna have to wait for season 3 like the rest of us. I know, it's hard. Waiting is hard. I don't like it either. Oh, sorry. You meant the movie Heavy Metal. I have not seen that. So there you go. Don't I feel a little bit dumb now? Sorry about that, Josh. I went off on a tangent, like always. Okay, Kiss is glam metal. Sorry. Got that wrong. Figured I would. Animation called heavy metal. That sounds vaguely familiar. Like in the back of my brain. I think someone might have shown me that at some point. Yeah, he is yelling. Absolutely. Hector does yell at me. Did he find a show to replace The Witcher yet? No, I've tried several shows, and he isn't interested in any of them, frankly. I don't know what it is. We've tried different genres. We tried, I've thought I might do, a rewatch of Doctor Who after my friend brought up an episode that I hadn't seen, and I was like, yeah, I'll give that another watch, and it was good. But Hector wasn't interested in that. We tried watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and Hector wasn't interested in that, so anime was out. What else did we watch, Heck? We tried watching The Final Table, because I just like cooking competition shows as some background noise, and Hector he's not into that. Beautiful shots of fish getting all cooked up. I know you like fish, buddy. But he's not into that. So I guess I need to find something in the fantasy genre for him. But you know, I don't really want to rewatch Game of Thrones after knowing how it ends. I guess I could watch the Sword of Truth series again, but season 2, it's okay. I've seen it before. I know you haven't seen it, buddy. I guess we could do a Witcher rewatch, but like season 1 is it's chunky, and you know it. Yeah, it is. See, he talks back to me. I'm not insane. Hello, evil Anno. It is going well. I am having an argument with my cat over what we should watch on Netflix, apparently. That's where my life has gone. And we're talking about some animation history and now some heavy metal, which is an animation that I was not aware of. And I went off on a rant about any history of heavy metal and animation crossing each other, not realizing I was being asked about a very specific animation, so that was quite funny, actually. Okay, so glam metal is a style of heavy metal, and then heavy metal itself is a magazine of short stories, comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. Okay, gotcha. I cannot watch The Expanse on Amazon. There are a lot of things in this world I will do. But one of the ones I will not do is, I have not caved yet and given Jeff Bezos any money. I've never purchased anything off Amazon. I do not have an Amazon Prime subscription. And as long as I can be a holdout on that, I will. I know it's a dumb hill to die on. And I understand that there are parts of the world that or just parts of the US even, where ordering from Amazon is the only way to get certain things, and that's fine. I don't judge anyone for doing it. But as for me, myself personally, for as long as I can hold out from ever having to use Amazon, I will do so. I believe Amazon owns Twitch, which is why you also find me streaming here on YouTube as opposed to Twitch. It's just because of that, honestly. It's a stupid hill to be dying on, I know. And there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, but I just can't do it for Amazon. I just can't. It does unfortunately mean missing out on a lot of shows I would like to see. I know that one, is it Good Omens? That's the one that's on there with David Tennant in it. God, I've brought up a lot of Doctor Who knowledge today, but I think that looks really good. I know that the, Critical Role TV show that's going to be coming out is going to be on Amazon, so I miss out on a few things, but I get to keep my sense of feeling okay about that. I picked my hill to die on, so I'm fine with it. Hector might not be, though. He might want to die on that hill so we can get some more TV on here. I have not seen The Boys or Miss Maisel. Yeah, unfortunately, I've not seen any of those. They look very good. I'm sure that they are entertaining, but I've not seen them. What I might do is rewatch Pushing Daisies. That's a good one. I have HBO Max. Last time I checked, it was there. Still not fantasy, mind you, but could work. Also, I think The Last Duel, that movie that Ridley Scott? I want to say Ridley Scott was really mad about nobody going to see is on HBO Max, and I was intending to watch it. I didn't go see it in theaters because, like, COVID is a thing, and it didn't look worth risking, health for. So I didn't, but, now that it's on a streaming service, I might check it out. Pushing Daisies is one of my favorites. Not only because Barry Sonnenfeld as a director just gets me, like, I love him. He did the Men in Black films, the first two I know for sure, maybe the third one as well. And then of course he did the Series of Unfortunate Events remake, which people have mixed opinions about, but I adore. Not only that, but he has Jim Dale doing the narration, who narrates audiobooks that I listen to, so I already have his voice, like, firmly cataloged in my head as somebody who should be narrating things. And they have Lee Pace as the lead, who is an absolutely perfect choice. Like, yes. Love it. Okay, it's not on HBO yet, so it must be coming soon to HBO Max. Oh, you know what else I watched? Because Netflix had it out, like, the other day. I watched The House. It's like a series of 3 short horror stories, but all done with stop-motion animation. That was... As someone who recently purchased a house and now has to live in it, I was a little unnerved, shall we say. Scared is the wrong word. But, after watching something that's like, this house might be a little bit evil, a little bit sus, I was kind of like, okay, this is fun. This is a great environment to be in. I love this. Being alone with 2 cats in a house that I've only lived in for a little while, that's fun. We love this emotion that we're experiencing. So it was good. Good little bit of horror. Honestly, I would love if the horror genre and stop-motion animation would intersect more often. I think they're, frankly, a media meant for each other, because there's already something just unnerving about stop-motion in how tactile it is. Like, I think there is that sense that we as humans perceive it as a real object that should be still and it's moving. And there's something painfully human about stop motion in that it's imperfect and there will always be little ripples, little handprints, stuff like that you just know. Like, there's something in you that just knows, and you might not be able to define what it is that you know exactly, but stop motion has that vibe to it. The 2001 Witcher movie is on YouTube if I need 2 hours of entertainment. More details, please. I've not played any of the Witcher games, so I don't know what a Witcher movie would entail. But I am curious. Very curious. And Hector probably is too, because he's been whining ever since we stopped watching The Witcher. Hector, for the record, is a cat who will sit down and watch certain shows with me, but not every show. I don't know if you were in on that part of this party, Evilano, and I don't want you to miss out on the fact that we are in fact making television recommendations for a feline who means a great deal to me, but I cannot possibly know what his taste is going to be, because I cannot predict which shows he will sit down and watch calmly with me, and which ones he will just get up and run around or not pay attention to at all. I don't know why The Witcher had him so calm and watching and having a good time. All I can assume is that he's a big Henry Cavill fan. That's all I got. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to find another show that he likes. So, we'll see. Could just be that he's a fantasy guy and I need to try out more fantasy stuff. But like I said, I don't really want to rewatch Game of Thrones because I know how it ends. And, you know, everybody knows how it ends now because people were complaining about it. So I don't think I can even say no spoilers because the whole world was basically like, yo, man, what the heck? Movie based on the same books as the game. It was originally shot in Polish. Interesting. Well, it is like a Polish, pseudo-Polish, I guess, world, right? Like, they're supposed to... The monsters are supposed to be Polish, I think? I don't know. Didn't play the games. Have only seen the show because my friend, talks about The Witcher quite a bit. And I do this thing where I'm like, I'm never going to get into this thing because I have no interest in it. And then people keep talking about it. And I'm like, okay, but now I need to understand what you're saying. Like, my friends are all talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore now because a new one came out. And I need you to know I have no interest in this game. I don't really care about the lore. But I have an intense need to know what my friends are talking about and understand it. So I'm probably going to get some of that through osmosis. Have I watched Raised by Wolves? No, I have not. What is Raised by Wolves? That sounds vaguely familiar, like maybe I've seen it scrolling through Netflix or something like that. The author is Polish and used a lot of Polish folklore as inspiration. Okay, cool. I mean, I would like to know more about some of the monsters in The Witcher, I think. Like, that would be interesting. But usually it's like they show up for 4 seconds and then Geralt kills them, which is fine. It works for the show. But I'd like a little bit more sleuthin' sometimes, you know? Give us a little bit more lore, a little bit more context as to why this monster does what it does. Make us I'd love like a storyline where I'm very confident that this monster is this thing because it does this, and then it turns out to be a different kind of monster. I guess we kind of got that a little bit with the dragon thing, but I want more of that. Expectation subversion is fun. Why am I edge highlighting this piece of wood? That's a great question, myself. I don't know. I thought it would look good. Am I gonna edge highlight the rest of this piece? Heck no. I cannot see myself doing that, if I'm honest. But this singular piece of wood is getting the royal treatment for whatever reason. Clearly reinterpretations of classic fairy tales. I mean, I live for that. As much as I'm like, we should break away from the fairy tales and stop doing that, people are like, ooh, this but edgy, and I'm like, yeah, I could be into that. Like, you want to give me some weird interpretations of Peter Pan being about, like, death and stuff like that? I'm gonna pretend like I'm above it, but I'm not. I'm interested. I love a good dark fantasy concept. Yeah, the first monster in season 2 was definitely Beauty and the Beast. I saw actually a lot of, like, princess story interpretations throughout series storyline, and a little bit with Yennefer, like the whole thing with the witch wanting her to go after Ciri. Yeah, I got like some kind of like Little Mermaid vibes with wanting Ariel to give up her voice, and then with the finale there with the kind of hypnosis thing, I was like, this is kind of like Sleeping Beauty with the hypnosis and the spindle thing. So I got definitely some fairy tale vibes out of it, which I liked. And they do have that episode with, the surprise thing where the guy's like a porcupine and he's like, yo, I want to marry your daughter and stuff like that. Like, that's very fairy tale. I liked that. Okay, Raised by Wolves is on HBO. It's in the future and has robots. Girl he killed was Snow White and Rapunzel. Which girl? Sorry, I'm having trouble there. Back me up a bit. Porcupine guy, the white flame. Oh, Striga, Sleeping Beauty? Maybe that could be it. Yeah, is he, like, what was that reveal at the end of the season, right? Is he evil now? I liked Porcupine guy. I thought he was cool. I was like, he's a porcupine man. Ah, the one for when he gets the title Butcher of Blaviken. Sure, yep. Absolutely. Also, can we just pause and talk for a second? Like, I thought deranged, like, husband Jaskier in the first season was great. Like, I was all for that. I was like, oh, this is charming. This is a fun kind of back and forth. I enjoy this. But Jaded X Jaskier is so much better. Like, so much moodier. Love his new song. Enjoying his story arc, frankly. Just, Jaskier is my favorite character. And I adored his moodiness this season. It was very fun. Loved him conducting the band of rats. That was a joy. Honestly understood it. Was just there for it. Loved it. Happy that he's there. Very happy. It's also really nice to see Geralt have to apologize for anything and have some depth to him. I enjoyed how they kept showing him, like, showing up to old friends, kind of, and seeing him be less of just, like, kind of a flat, gruff man who is good at the fights, and, like, the man can laugh and feel things and joke with his buddies. That was nice. I enjoyed that. I don't know. If he was evil, like, I from what I remember from the episode of the porcupine guy, I think his name was, like, Dooney, but it was a bigger name. I think that the kingdom was kind of shat on by the other, by Sintra, and, the queen there, who was, like, a badass and went out and fought stuff. She wasn't very fleshed out, but she seemed cool, and I'm kind of sad that they killed her off early, because she seemed capable, which is nice. But whatever, I guess she needed to die so that Ciri could have her whole call to action, which makes sense, but I don't have to love it. Anyway, what was I saying? I think the kingdoms were, like, opposed, but it wasn't necessarily, like, the porcupine guy is evil. They say Witchers can't feel things in the show, but look at Geralt. And again, I'm going from the show. That's the canon that I'm accepting, because, frankly, I don't have the stamina to play the video games, and there's too much in those books that is wearisome in terms of description. My friend showed me some passages about, mermaid. Muted doesn't mean they're not there. Like, he feels things. I'm sorry, he does. He's very emotional. He's just not upfront about it. But that man's been through some stuff. He clearly has emotions. Witchers can feel things. And every time people say that Witchers can't feel things, he doesn't agree with them. He just doesn't argue with them either. I think he's just tired of people being jerks. Same way my camera might be tired of working if it froze up for a second there. Did it? No, we still have feed. Everything's still good. I don't know. I believe that Witchers have feelings, and I'm allowed to have that interpretation, and also be wrong if that's not the case. But going off what I see in the show as my evidence, I can cite several parts where Geralt does in fact demonstrate that he feels things quite strongly. And I'm willing to bet that in the other pieces of media, he does so as well. So while they can say that Witchers don't have feelings, they can tell me that. They have to show me it. I mean, that's fine. I know that Geralt is like a super anime boy protagonist because he has the cat eyes and the silver hair. So, he's definitely a very, very special Witcher. But even the other Witchers feel stuff. Like, if you're gonna say that Witchers don't feel things, like, anger is an emotion, people. And those Witchers in Care What's Its Place, they were fighting with each other. They were getting angry and jaded and jealous about things. Like, those are all feelings, too. Just saying that Witchers can't feel things, it doesn't mean, oh man, they can't feel love and that's the only thing. That would mean that they can't feel anything at all. And there's definitely some jealousy, some anger, some, like, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. And those Witchers, they grew fond of Ciri too, in the thing. Kaer Morhen, thank you. I don't accept that. They have emotions. They might be different or muted or whatever, but from the concept, from the context, and my interpretation, my reading of the text, so to speak, as of literary analysis, Witchers do feel things, and they seem to feel them very strongly. So I don't know who started the Witchers can't feel things rumor in this world of the TV show, but it's very clear that they do. Geralt's an emotional guy. So are his buddies. That's okay. He's allowed to swing his sword and feel his feelings. Both are good. Yennefer. I don't like Yennefer. I wish I did. I just don't. I want to like her so bad. And she just bothers me all the time. I feel like she's pretty boring and predictable. I want them to be doing more with her character, but they aren't. I hope that they do. I don't know why I'm edge highlighting this. I could just call it done, but I'm like, an edge highlight between some of those metal plates would look really nice. So we're going to do that. We're going to attempt to do that. The only way to get better at edge highlighting is to actually edge highlight things, I guess. Wow, okay, Josh, strong opinions there. Calm yourself down. Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I'm more willing to believe that people just started rumors about Witchers not feeling things so they could be like, ah, yes, you go fight scary monsters and have traumatic experiences. And also, we don't need to be nice to you because you're just there to make the scary stuff go away, and you're different from us. But, I mean, I don't know. If Jaskier's there to be some Witcher PR, I mean, he was doing a pretty good job until he got jaded. People were kind of like, Geralt's pretty cool, with his whole toss a coin to your Witcher stuff. I think that was working out for him. Come for the painting hangout, stay for the animation and Witcher chat. Sure, why not? That'd be fun. Maybe when season 3 comes out, I'll do a episode by episode opinions on the stream. But you guys have to be nice and promise not to give me any spoilers. I was giving my opinions about Dune to a couple of friends, because I haven't read the books, Dune, and I haven't seen the original Dune, and I don't know anything about Dune, so I went into the film completely blind. So yeah, I definitely had some opinions about that too. There were kind of some spicy takes though. Oh yeah, it does kind of look like tree cake. I don't know if I want plot points from the book brought up, because I don't want any accidental spoilers, and none of us know where they're gonna, well, I mean, maybe you know where they're headed for season 3, but it seems like they do deviate from the books a good bit. I'm not sure, obviously. I'm going off what I can assume, which you know what assuming does. But what was I gonna say? I was gonna say words. I want to know at the end of the season, right? And sorry for spoilers, or for anyone who doesn't like The Witcher and is still in this chat. Thanks for enduring us. But like at the end of the season, they have those guys, the skeleton dude. They're not skeleton, but they're like knights, and they have bones on their armor or something. In the like alternate dimension place that looks evil as fuck. That looks cool as hell. And I don't really know who those people are or what their deal is, but I'm very excited to find out. Aw, that's dope! You have two non-binary kids. Bro, way to win the lottery with that. I mean, that's awesome as hell. Yeah. That's wicked cool. I don't know if my family really understands me for that aspect at all. And knowing that there is someone out there that is, that's down with that, it's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have good words. Sorry, but I'm very excited and happy and very emotional about that all of a sudden. You'll have to excuse me for that. Jeez. Oh, talk amongst yourselves while I have an emotional moment here. Sorry. We're gonna see if blue cures emotions. Alright. Sorry about that. Had a moment. We're good. I promise. I apologize. The lemonade that is blue stings a bit after it's gone down to room temperature. It is not as good. Whew. Alright. What were we talking about? Holy shit, it's 10 o'clock. And we're just talking about The Witcher. Seattle is a cool place. Yeah, I would love to go to the Pacific Northwest, but it is not viable for me to travel anywhere or move anywhere right now. Seattle's one of those places that I've always wanted to visit, though. And for a while I was like, yes, I will move out to Seattle, and it will be great, and everything will be different, but unfortunately, for job reasons and practicality and stuff like that, I was not able to leave the state that I was in, and I'm here, and that's fine. I don't live in the same state as my parents, so that's also good for just, like, distance and not having people that I don't necessarily know how I feel about immediately around, so I'm happy that I'm here. But I would love to see Seattle, and it does seem like a more diverse place. If I watch animated series Wakfu on Netflix, okay. I've been watching Heaven Official's Blessing on Netflix and loving that. I've seen, and I'm a big fan of it. It's good. I hope they make a season 2. I'm impatient. Ever since Modao Zushi finished, I'm like, where is more? Need more of content, and Heaven Official's Blessing is kind of delivering, but also not. You have a good night, Josh. You've been here from the beginning, so you've done your due diligence. You've been here 2.5 hours. Go to bed. Thank you for providing wonderful topics of discussion. Incredibly enjoyable. You have a good one. Oh, and you say that they're called The Wild Hunt, and there's a Witcher animated movie on Yasemir? I thought it was Yesemir. I don't know. I could be saying or hearing it wrong. Might check that out. We'll see if that appeases Hector. Who knows? He's very opinionated. I'll keep you guys updated if my cat's film opinions are of interest to you. If they are, I've clearly found the correct audience. Because anyone who cares about what my cat would have to say about a movie, that's someone that I'm gonna want to be hanging out with. Yeah. It seems that way for places that have some nice diversity and culture and stuff like that. They can be super expensive. And it's not like culture is the wrong word, just like, you know, a more, I guess, inclusive or like LGBT plus, the LGBTQ plus centric kind of culture is, it tends to be areas that I can't afford. So while I would love to live somewhere like that, this isn't bad. The particular town that I'm in the particular area does have some good LGBTQ plus resources, and while not super prominent, is also not super bad. It's kind of middling, but there's definitely spaces, and I think it's working on being more inclusive overall, and I can help be a part of that change in my own town. Obviously, trying to make a more inclusive space in the hobby by just existing and trying to be non-binary on main and stuff like that. So, you know, little efforts, and that counts too. I'm scared most of the time of being really bold about it because I don't feel like I'm a very bold person. So, you know, I'm just kind of here doing my thing in my little corner of the hobby universe, trying my best. I hope that that's enough. You guys seem to enjoy hanging out, so if I can make the space a little bit more inclusive so everybody has a nice time hanging out, that's really all I'm aiming to do. That, and, you know, finish this orc army someday. That's the other goal. And, you know, opinions change gradually, we hope. There's plenty of problems in the US to solve. I'm fortunate that at least I'm not afraid to, like, go outside or stuff like that. People might not really understand what it is to be non-binary, but they're also not going to kill me for it here, so far as I'm aware. And that's the best you can hope for some days. Yeah, being where I am is fine. I mean, I recently bought a house, so clearly I'm comfortable enough with the area to continue existing here. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I've put some edge highlights. Some places don't have edge highlights, so I mean, that honestly tracks for who I am as a person and what I do. I feel like I should do something with the cloth and maybe put a couple of highlights in it just to kind of make it not look so flat. But other than that, I think we might have it. So we'll try that. Just a couple real quick ones. Maybe just with some yellow. Kind of trying to get that a little bit highlighted. Listen, I'm not good at edge highlighting, but the only way to get better is to painfully make myself do it on textures like checkerboard print, which would be an absolute pain in the ass to have to repaint if I make a mistake. So everybody just collectively lend me some will that I don't make a mistake. And if I do, it's not going to be a big one, and it's not going to be noticeable. Because that's the best I can hope for. We got him. Good. Cool. Yeah, I think we'll just put a couple little edge highlights in on the cloth, and then he'll be all done. Ready, well, I mean, ready for basing, and, you know, that, but done in terms of big crocodile is painted. Parsnip and yet to be named orc riding parsnip. Get those spiky bits catching the light. That looks good. Get a little bit of an edge highlight here. That looks good. Put one there. If I was thinking like a proper artist, like I've been, you know, trained to do in art schools, I would think about where my light source is and where the light would be catching the edges from. But instead of doing that and being smart, I'm just going to paint wherever I think they would look good. 'Cause that's how I do it, which is not the proper or technical way. But it's still going to give me a good result at the end of the day. Because I'll be sparing about it, but it'll work to separate the colors, I think. Which is something that we need a little bit of. Just because it can read as flat when you have a pattern painted like this. So if you have the colors kind of, this yellow is an edge highlighted just because it won't stand out as wrong, but it'll read enough to give it some depth, which is kind of what we're lacking, I think. Am I just saying words? I'm not just saying words. I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not explaining it very coherent. Oh, that one was chunky. We got a chunkster there. That's fine. That doesn't look too bad. From far away, no one will know it's a chunky edge highlight. They'll just think it's intentional. Shush. Shush. Voice of doubt in my head. Don't need you. No one's gonna know. How would they know? They're gonna know. How would they know? Yeah, okay, good. I'm calling it good. So I can't name him Turnip. Specifically, all of the orcs are named after poisonous plants, except for Slime Rankle, who is the general, who just had, someone suggested the best name, and I couldn't say no to it. It wasn't so much a suggestion as a name that I found, and was like, this is a great orc name, and I need to use it. And so I just kind of held on to it. But everybody else, like, I've got like, mugwort and milkweed and all these and various poisonous plants on a big Microsoft Office Word document. And when the models are completely finished, I paint their names on the underside of their bases. Obviously he doesn't have one, and I grab one of my finished orcs, but they're packed up in my essentially my to-go bag for battle, just my suitcase that I keep all my miniatures in, for taking them to the game store. Now, I have to decide whether I'm gonna paint the base tonight, which I don't feel like doing, so I'm probably not. Or just call him done for now. Probably either I could start base coating my other orcs, or I could just call it a night for now. I have been streaming for like 2.5 hours, but I could get another 15 minutes in and then find something short to watch before bed and have a nice little night. So maybe we'll do that, or we could really quick get some more progress made on our vulture. That's probably the smartest thing to do, because I could paint some more orange feathers. That's what I could do. Alright, that's what we'll do. So everybody say goodbye to Parsnip, because he's going to go chill in the safety of the display case until his base gets painted. But he's almost done, which is exciting. Potato is technically poisonous? It might be. I mean, all of the research that I did was looking up a Wikipedia for, like, poisonous plants and stuff. And some of them I used, like, the folksier names. Like, there's one that's something like blind your eyes, and it's all, like, hyphenated, like blind hyphen your hyphen eyes. And so I named one of the Bolt Boys that, because I thought it was, like, a good archer name. You know, that makes sense. It's a naming convention. Maybe not the smartest or coolest, but it's the one that I chose. And don't worry, he'll get his name in the end. I just gotta look at my Word document and I'll find a good name for him. Don't you fret. Every orc and grot in the army will have a name. The grots are all going to be named after different insects. Because I also think that would be interesting. Trying to go with like a more... It's funny to say natural name scheme, but my 40k orcs are all named after different, like, desserts. Like, I have all kinds of funny dessert names for them. Got a baklava and a croissant and a Twinkie in there, so plenty of fun names. I think I even have a orc with like a grot on its base, and I named them Peanuts and Cracker Jack. Oh, interesting. I did not know that about potatoes. I think I might feel a little bad if I named one of the most powerful orcs in my army Potato. He might not be super happy with me, and I need him to perform well at the tournament, so we'll see about that. I mean, Parsnip seems like a fine name for his alligator, because he could have named it that as like kind of an affectionate one, like the gash tooth that my main boss rides is named Peppercorn, because I thought that was, you know, kind of fun. I don't know if these names are fun to anyone who isn't me or is not deeply invested in the lore of my orc army, but I'm gonna take it just because I can. I'll have to be sure that next stream I take the zebra cake image down and put up the lollipops that are going to be inspiring this vulture's paint job. I totally forgot that I'm supposed to be timing him out completely, so whatever time I have for all of my vulture painting, I'll have to add 15 minutes to, and I'll hopefully remember to do that. Could name them after peppers. That's why you shouldn't eat potatoes that are getting green. That makes sense. I didn't know potatoes could get poisonous. That's a little concerning. I've definitely eaten some dubious potatoes before in my day. Hopefully none of them had permanent damage. I'm glad you joined us. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment and do all the YouTube stuff if you want. I hope you enjoy the channel. I stream randomly whenever I feel like painting, and it's very cool that you have a corgi, so please enjoy your walk around the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Rotting potatoes emit a gas that can kill. I am just learning some unfun facts. You guys know a lot of things, and all of them are somewhat terrifying. Yeah, they do know a lot of terrifying things, heck. They sure do. You don't even like potatoes. The only human food that Hector is interested in is specifically cherry ice cream. And I'm like, I don't understand, sir. This is so confusing. I was absolutely shocked when he ate a cat treat this weekend because he hardly ever eats cat treats. He just wants his kibble all the time. Such a weird little man. But Lobster would absolutely eat a rotting potato. He would feel no shame about that. I'd probably eat a rotting potato because I'm dumb and wouldn't think, oh hey, this could probably kill me. But now I know. Now that probably shouldn't eat food that's gone off in the first place, but there's definitely days where I've looked at a potato, shrugged, and been like, this is probably fine. Maybe I'll stop doing that. Because they do sometimes grow those little weird purpley bits, like if you leave them in the cupboard too long. I wish I could say that the facts you're giving me are fun, but they're just sad. Kind of worrisome. Poor young children fed on incorrect potatoes. Oh. That's not good. That's sad. Oh no, my orc got stuck on my microphone cord. That wasn't good either. It's the problem with, we've got, a guy with some really long hair that plays Warhammer at our store, and, like, his hair, whenever I use this model, will get caught up on all those spiky bits, and has almost been knocked over so many times. I want to give him a little cocktail umbrella to hold in his little hand. It looks like he's casting a spell, right? But you tell me that hand couldn't be holding a tiny umbrella to protect the spikes from being caught. Like, it's dumb. I know it's dumb, but you also want to see it, right? You can't possibly not want to see that a little bit. Just tiny bit. Just a little bit. So I might have to get a small umbrella for my orc to hold. I actually don't even know where you buy those from. I used to think they were so cool as a kid, though. Like, because sometimes you'd go to, like, a birthday party or something, and they just have them in the drinks because they were having fun or whatever. Not because I was being given alcohol as a child or anything like that, but every now and again you would get a hold of one and they'd work for like 3 seconds and then break, but they were still really cool. And smart people can figure out how to fold those umbrellas themselves, but I've never managed it. Forgot that piece of cork was coming out. I really need to get... I got some super glue. What am I talking about? I can glue that back down. Hang on. Forget painting for a second. I bought all this stupid super glue for assembly, but I can also use it to stick things that are falling down. Don't be alarmed at how surgically precise my application of this super glue is. I mean, I would be. Look at that. The skill, the talent. They're absolutely not going to forget that there's fresh super glue on the base of this model and get their fingers stuck together. That's not going to happen. Oh, that is kind of interesting about leaking gas and lanterns. That is very interesting. Okay, that one counts. That one's a fun fact. I'll give you that one. The lanterns around it were probably leaking. Very cool. Okay, that wins for fun fact as opposed to scary fact. I think there's enough distance between me and gas lamps that I don't have to worry about that. Although, I do own an oil lamp. So, I don't know what that says about me. I don't use it anymore. Now that my house has power, I don't need to. And I am aware that I could have used a flashlight and achieved the same effect. But the idea of stalking around my newly acquired house with an oil lamp was simply too fun to not. It was an adventure. Another good house buying tip, if any of you out there are looking to buy a house, make sure you have the correct date set up with your gas company and your power company so that you get that turned on before you get there. That is very important to take care of. Don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes. Ooh, these feathers are confusing now. I'm gonna switch to the other wing. Tiny ones are getting tricky to keep up with. Amazing how I could spend all of that time edge highlighting and painting tiny details, and I'm like, oh, these very large feathers, these are just gonna confuse me. Yep, that's how it goes. Definitely gonna be winding down my painting journey for today. Very pleased that we were able to finish good old Parsnip and yet to be named Ryder. Feels good to be close to finishing off that model. Just got to do the base, obviously. But he'll turn out great. Be a fine addition to my growing orc army. And I won't look like a jerk when I show up to the hobby club next week, because I'll be like, I painted something. I spent my time doing the hobby. So now when, my models kill people, at least they'll die to a giant mutant zebra cake as opposed to a gray and white piece of plastic. That's what people want out of their Warhammer games, I think. There are sea snails that steal the chloroplasts of the algae they eat and use them to do photosynthesis in themselves, called sea sheep. Okay, we need to develop that technology, but for humans, because honestly, if I could photosynthesize instead of having to make dinner every night, that would be really convenient. Really convenient. Also would probably cut down on food costs. I'm not saying that I wouldn't, eat food. Like, you put a bowl of ramen in front of me with a good soft-boiled egg, or some French fries, or a key lime pie. I'm gonna eat that. But if I didn't have to eat every single day and could just photosynthesize, that would be excellent. I would be a big fan of that. I think I also managed to almost make this symmetrical. Not quite. The wings won't be symmetrical, and that's definitely going to make someone unhappy, but that's fine. I'm cool with them being haphazard. I think that's more authentic to an orc bird experience than if they were perfect and, lined up. I'm glad that's happening. Unintentionally, but it's happening. Problem would be getting enough sunlight. Yeah. I mean, that's why you would have the supplemental diet of aforementioned pie and french fries. That is not dietary advice. I am not a nutritionist. I am not a dietitian. And would probably kill you if I were to try and pick out a eating plan for anyone. I would not keep up with it and would not make good choices. Make fun choices, though. Alright. I think that is probably the point of the night where I should stop, because I'm having trouble even keeping within the lines of these big feathers, which means my coordination has died for tonight. And we've covered a lot of topics and streamed for almost 3 hours, so I think that's fair. This was really a lot of fun. I was glad to hear all of your opinions on The Witcher and various topics. We talked about some animation history. We definitely got a lot of work done. But it's time for me to settle in with whatever show I'm going to test out on Hector and go to bed. So, thank you all for being here, and good night.